Al-Baghdadi was killed. It's interesting, you know, Trump has released this picture and talked about how he was there through the whole thing. They actually had to delay this by almost a month because he screwed everything up by pulling our troops out of Syria, or out of that, you know, northern strip. Garry Kasparov tweets, "Surely Putin and Erdogan gave up al-Baghdadi in exchange for Trump abandoning northern Syria and the Kurds, a quid pro quo, I believe it is called." Either they gave him up or they simply declined to warn him this time. That's interesting. The Russian Foreign Ministry announced over the weekend that they were skeptical that al-Baghdadi had been killed, although the Russians were the first people that Trump thanked. But they said, no, we don't think he was killed. Why? Well, because on May 28th, 2017, Russia claimed that they had killed al-Baghdadi in an airstrike. You know, a month later, he was killed in a Syrian artillery strike on June 11th. Then the leader of Iran on June 29th said he's definitely dead. And on July 11th of last year, excuse me, of the year before last, this is all 2017, the Syrian Observatory for Human Rights confirmed that al-Baghdadi was dead. So here you have the Russians killed him. 2 weeks later, or a week and a half later, the Syrians confirm that he's dead. 2 weeks later, the president of Iran confirms that he's dead. A week after that, the Syrian Observatory for Human Rights confirms that he's dead. And then yesterday, Trump says that he killed him again. I'm a little confused. But, you know, I'm inclined to believe our military, even though I don't believe our president. Pete Souza, the guy who was the photographer inside the White House throughout the Obama administration, his photographs are just absolutely iconic, reports that the photo on the camera, the metadata on the photo shows that it was taken, the picture was taken at 5:05. Trump said it was taken at 3 o'clock, 3:30 when the raid was happening. Apparently it was posed afterwards. Very strange. And a former Pentagon official has just like come right out and said it. Dana Stroul, former Pentagon official who's now a senior fellow with the Washington Institute for Near East Policy, said that the Kurdish-led Syrian defense, the Syrian Democratic Forces spent 5 months working with the U.S. government to gather intelligence on Baghdadi's whereabouts. The operation was delayed for a full month by Turkey's military activity at the border and the subsequent incursion into Syria. Amazing. Anyhow, I also mentioned Trump got the lock him up chant in Washington, D.C. A, that's probably worthy of giving D.C. statehood. B, I think this actually is causing, you know, if the world notices that when Donald Trump shows up at a ballpark, people yell, lock him up. A, maybe Trump is starting to realize that his little hand-picked crowds for his rallies don't reflect America. And number two, maybe the world is starting to realize that we are not all as crass and crazy as the maggots who show up at these rallies.